About keeping everybody's attention, that was not anything you should really worry about. You had everybody from the beginning till the end, and you're a wonderful, wonderful storyteller. So I'm going to first go through, I'm just going to go through the points as they ask. Your strong points that you already have, you have good poise. You have great visual verbiage. I mean, every story you told with a lot of detail, and we could visualize everything you were telling us. It was almost like watching what you were saying, more than listening. Because at least in my mind, because I decided to put this down, not think about what I was listening for, and just listen to you as everybody else is. And I just got brought into your story, into who you were, and you're supposed to tell a little bit about yourself in this. And a lot of people, like when I gave my first speech, I was like, like every point I was telling about myself, like, it was so obvious. But you told it through your stories. You didn't have to tell us about who you were. We learned that you were intelligent, that you were kind, that you were dedicated, that you were a very observant person. So there's a lot of things we learned about you without you ever telling us who you were. You just came through the stories, and that's unique. That's really wonderful. Your preparation was beyond adequate because you had no notes. So we know that you worked on this a lot. And for a icebreaker with no notes, which we have a lot of them, I mean, that didn't happen in my day. We all came out with our notes shaking. So for you guys to get up with no notes is just blows me away, because I still use notes a lot. I'm working on it. 10 years later, 12 years later, I'm still working on notes. Your organization was great. You had an opening, you had stories in between, and then your closing wasn't really a closing, which I kind of thought was interesting. Your closing was like, I have more stories to tell. And so there's more about me that you're going to learn. And that was your ending, which was not an ending, but an ending in a way, because you didn't come to a conclusion, because there is no conclusion. Life keeps going on, which I thought was kind of interesting. So the organization was even very, I think, professional. It wasn't icebreakish. It was just really a very high level. So the only thing I think you could work on, and that's confidence, because the ums and the ahs and a little bit of dancing that you did was just because you haven't done it for a long time. You will find your grounding, you will find your stance, but your hand movements were wonderful. I did a whole speech on hand movements, and it's not an easy thing because these hands kind of flop around and we don't know what to do with them. But you had control of your hands. So the last question you asked was, what kind of music are you going to listen to? The one thing you didn't tell us, or at least I don't know about, is if you have children. So you don't. I figured you didn't. That's the kind of music. Once you have children, you'll be listening to SpongeBob, SquarePants, and all kinds of Disney stuff. That's what the music you'll be listening to in the next 10 years.
That's where it's going.
Yeah.